Kamala Harris voters, I got some shocking news. Listen very carefully all the way to the end. You want to hear all of this. This has been mind-blowing. Hi, I'm Darren Monroe. I used to work on Kamala Harris's campaign, one of thousands, tens of thousands on the engagement team. I also, as many of you know, have 30 years marketing branding experience working for Universal, DreamWorks, MCA, Sony. The last job I had was 20 years ago to this very week, was fleeing Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. This Chicago guy didn't know nothing about hurricanes. Next thing you know, I am in a FEMA paid-for hotel starting online businesses, teaching people what to do, right? On this channel, I take you from chaos to clarity with this, and I have a clarity group that's about to double in price. You want to get in it, the link is in the description, and the link is in the channel. Get in this group this weekend. Get in the group. It will raise your heart off. Also, just really, get the terror out of your heart. That's exactly what members have said. So listen to the end. I'm going to break everything down to you. This has been, it first started off discouraging but amazing day. Kamala Harris voters, you heard about Donald Trump removing the security clearance for Kamala Harris. And the first thing I thought of, even though it was before my time, I thought of Malcolm X. I thought of Martin Luther King. I thought about that. I just started having flashes. And it hit me hard. And people saw that across the web. And I want to thank you, everybody who reached out. I want to thank you, big time Clarity Group. Clarity Group is not just for you, it's for me. And there were people who reached out, and I got another video I'm doing after this to thank them because I got some insider information to thank them. But I said, you know what? I'm on YouTube. You guys are always awesome. I'm going to hit you with some bonus stuff here as well. So hear me out. I felt down. I started getting phone calls, and here's the phone calls I got. I can't say who, but I'm going to break down some things for you, okay? Some really cool things for you. I got some phone calls about what's really going on the back end with Kamala and what's really happening. So listen in its entirety. I don't know what's going on in the camp because I don't know it personally, but people do. And this was anticipated for quite some time. Of course, it would make sense that it is, but I don't know what the level of preparedness was. And I was told that they were on bonus time anyway. They were just waiting for that shoe to drop, which of course makes sense. But they're doubly prepared because obviously every day, whether it's Kamala or any other vice president or any other president, they're going to get threats. But now more than ever, the top people, from what I hear, who get threats, who are not president or vice president no more, this is the hybrid. This is what I heard from the top to the down. You ain't heard nobody tell you this before. Kamala's at the top of that. Below that is Obama. Below that is Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, then Bush, and Cheney, which is kind of weird, right? Because Cheney sided with Kamala, but he's still the lowest. In fact, I was told that his daughter gets more threats than that. So some of the people who run in the same security circles reached out and shared with me that one is going to be okay. So if you are like, oh my God, like I was, it's going to be okay. Yes, there's always a threat level, and she's at the highest. The biggest fear, this is what came out, and it's leaked out. It ain't even gone to the press yet, but it's leaking out. The biggest fear right now is Trump coming in and erasing everything. Basically, excuse me, I'll say that backwards. The biggest fear is Kamala coming in. You know what I just said? If you've been watching my channel, you know that I've been saying, oh, Kamala's coming back. She's running for president and she's going to win. And the biggest fear that they have is that everything they've established gone just like that. I was just confirmed with people that what I'm saying is very much more on point than I think it is. And that really got me like, man. Because, just relief. Because when you talking out here like this, all right, it gets really lonely because there's a lot of left creators who are afraid to say what I say. There are a lot of left creators who wouldn't dare talk about secret investigations. And even if approached, I wouldn't have any proof, no official proof of them. That's the truth. Because, of course, nobody would tell me. Well, who did they tell outside of that? But there's been hints all over the damn place. That's why I created a Clarity report in the Clarity group talking about the 8 different types. I'm getting ready to have an update of that this weekend. That's why you want to get in, called the 9 different types. And I've included the Supreme Court and everybody that, I got 700,000 followers across the web. I have profiles on social media. Y'all don't even know it's me. It's funny. I did that because of all the, election Trump stuff. It's crazy. And what I'm hearing and getting, it feels so good to get a confirmation of this. What I'm hearing is that 1, this was prepared for. They knew that was coming. 2, his time and his people's time are coming. And that 3, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is very much on point. And I've always stood behind my own opinions. All this stuff is my own opinions. But with this many people and people who've said and hinted, I have put the jigsaw puzzle together. And I'm being told for the first time in 8 months that I'm on point. People think you crazy when you say this stuff sometimes. And when you say, hey man, wait a minute. All the wealthy people ain't for Trump. They people who financing these investigations that I'm going to give you an update on this week. The 9 investigations. I'm not crazy. This makes sense. And, I've seen this in other scenarios where wealthy have done this. Even if you look at your history, I keep bringing up how they got Al Capone. It was just a bunch of business people who financed investigators who were hungry to get them. And how people who were investigators who helped the journalists find out about Nixon. And how there were investigators who found out about Clinton. There were investigators who found out about Reagan, Iran-Contra. There were investigators. You see where I'm going with this? And I ain't crazy. I'm like, wait a minute. Something ain't right. I'm putting 1 and 1 as a distant person away from it, but there are people who are leaving breadcrumbs and trails for me to put together. This is great news. Confirmation. Not so much, ooh, I'm right, but what's happening is a great confirmation and should be a relief to you. Because what I'm saying to you is they gonna get these motherfuckers. Let me just say it like that. They gonna get these motherfuckers. Oh, boy, I talk live tomorrow in the Clarity group. Y'all should get in that. Y'all should get in that. It's gonna be at 7 p.m., y'all. Man, they gonna get these motherfuckers. Woo! The other calls I got were reminders. I had clients and people who are also members of the Clarity group, as well as some spiritual leaders, and they came back and reminded me of Mordecai and the gallows. See, I'm not deep in the Bible like that. I'm a Christian, I believe in God, but I'm not deep in the Bible like that. And they said, listen, remember when they built gallows to hang Mordecai, but the person who built it got hung in their own gallows? I said, oh, shoot, that's deep. I don't remember that one. And they were like, yeah. So I went and looked it up, and I'm like, oh, snap, okay. So basically, Trump, and this was reminded to me by somebody who used to work in military intelligence. Well, there was one. I have one big shout out to one of my clients Monique, she said it, but then there was another guy, ironically, the same time, about 2 hours after, it was like, hey man, you know, this is a setup for a takedown. In other words, everything that Trump's doing, not only is this confirmation of what I'm saying is developing, but what Trump is doing, what Trump is doing, what Trump is doing is building his own coffin. And I don't mean assassination. I mean, it could be, but I'm not encouraging nobody to do it. I don't know anybody knows assassination. I don't, What I'm saying is that this is the coffin for the GOP. This is the coffin for the administration. With everything they do, with every nail, it is a coffin. And what I've gotten today was confirmation on these 9 different investigations that are happening, including the Supreme Court. And I'll be putting a report out about that this weekend. And I will be live this week. You want to get in my live for the Clarity Group on that. The other thing that's exciting, and I really was happy to hear about, is there has been a surge, according to the numbers, of liberals who are moving to either become expats or moving to become financially free from the system. I have 20 years of that. This has been a rough week because, again, I got 30 years marketing branding, but 20 of those years, I've been running my own business, y'all. I literally have been running my own stuff. I hadn't had a job literally in 20 years. And it blew some people's minds because I was talking with somebody who has a lot of experience, a veteran. And he was like, man, what you're doing is amazing because there's an exodus of a lot of people who are waking up and realize they got to do different. One of the other groups I have is called the Moneymakers. You should get in that. I just got under 100 people in there. I'm definitely going to double that price. Like, it ain't even double. We talking about triple. Hands down, it is worth the price. If somebody inside of 3 to 4 months can help you get an extra $1,000 to $3,000 a month inside of 4 months of you working, that's the catch. But working is this. Working is this. You know what I'm saying? It ain't real work like regular people work. And I'm actually directly coaching you in a way that nobody is touchable, reachable, touchable. And we had some deep conversations, y'all. I'm telling you, I'm so excited about it because so many people have an opportunity to break away. There's some more news, okay? Not just confirmation of what's happening with Kamala, confirmation of what Trump's doing to himself, confirmation that Kamala is prepared for this and is ready and safe. And let me tell you, why I got to share with you. Hopefully you can just feel my energy on this, y'all. Reason I relate to Kamala so much, I didn't know who Kamala was before 2020 because the primary came and I was working on my computer in this very room and I was listening to the primary. I wasn't even looking at it. But I heard this black woman climb inside of Biden's ass and pull out his heart and see how it beats. Now, that might sound entertaining, but let me tell you something. I didn't know her mama was Indian. I didn't know that, everything she done went through. I didn't know nothing about her. But I could, black folks, we could tell when somebody part of our culture. We can. That woman sounded like she was, we about to go black in a minute. So for everybody that ain't black, just hang in there for a minute. We about to go black. I'm talking to all the black people. She talked to Biden like she was getting ready to take off her rings and get some Vaseline. You better watch out. You see what's behind me? You see what's behind me? You better chill. I'm trying to get you to understand. I'm pretty much the first person to promote Jill Scott on this earth with her album. March of 99, House of Blues, Chicago. That's where I first met her. She snuck up on me. Didn't nobody know who Jill was. She couldn't even get on the stage because she was touring with the Roots. As soon as You Got Me came in, security was like, you ain't Erykah Badu. No, literally, they did that to her. And she killed it on the stage because, of course, they got her up there, let her up there. But she just the nicest, coolest person ever. And that night, Common was performing as well. He came in there, and it was really an incredible night. And I'm telling you, when I listened to Kamala, she sounded like what we know is a black woman. I'll take it one step further. She sounded like my sister. Now, some of you know this. My sister is the attorney for Stevie Wonder. And she basically has 45 years experience. Came out of, got her law degree out of, her law degree out of Washington State. Not Washington State, Washington University in D.C. And my sister Tree, I call her short Teresa. Incredible lady. But for 45 years, she's been doing this, 46 now, as an attorney. If I'm doing the math right, what's that, 80, 90, 2000, 2010? lot of years. And Kamala sounded that night at the primary in 2020 just like my, and I told my sister, I'm like, Trey, this sounds just like you. The way she even climbed in her. Those of you who are black women and lawyers, you know what I'm talking about. So when she ran for president last year, I was so excited. I was like, oh man, it's like I'm pushing Trey for president. This is funny, you know? And I was really excited also for my mama. See, here's something else y'all don't understand. And you might have heard me say it if you've been watching me and following me for a long time. I'm the son of a woman who marched with Martin Luther King, who knew Martin Luther King on first basis, who, when he came up here to Chicago, he was looking out in a crowd and he said at a church while he was training people to go down there. And this is after those three students, including one who was white and Jewish, got killed. If you ever seen the movie Mississippi Burning with William Dafoe and Gene Hackman, may rest in peace. If you've seen that film, that is a real story. Rent it this weekend. Rent it this week. It's not graphic, it's the investigation they had into that. My mother, right after that, was going down there. And Martin Luther King, Martin Luther the King, as black folks say, Martin Luther King was standing in front of hundreds of young people who were training to go down there, because you had to get trained for nonviolence. You had to get pushed around, you had to get trained for this, not to react. And it comes, that method comes from Gandhi, which is ironic too, because I know anybody who's South African, they know that there was an issue that South Africans had with Gandhi because they felt like he was trying to raise the Indians over the status of South Africa. I acknowledge that. But we're going back to Martin Luther King now. Martin Luther King looks out across the crowd and he says, "Who here?" You know how he said in that voice, "Who?" I'm telling you, boy, Martin Luther King, boy. And he says, "Who here is afraid? Who's afraid?" And my mother looks around. She raises her hand. And Martin Luther King looked at her and looked at him, looked at everybody else and said, "Well, that makes two smart people in the room." Martin Luther King said that. And afterwards met her and talked to her because my grandfather, her father, is snuck backstage to talk to Martin Luther King about going down there with her because they were afraid. They didn't want her to get killed. And she went down there. And she got pushed. She went to jail. They got shot at in the car. It was crazy stuff that happened. And I'm telling you, when this campaign came up, it hit my heart so hard to be there for Kamala and go after that presidency that the you-know-what was stolen. That was another thing that was brought to me. Again, motherfuckers is looking into it. I told you 9 investigations. That's one of them. The election. I got a lot of confirmation today. A lot of confirmation. And Kamala Harris voters, I want you to understand. I ain't going to say everything's hunky-dory. She's going to come back in the middle of 3.5 years. No. We still got 40-something months to go till January 20th, 2029. But in that road, there are plans. We got a lot of fight ahead of us. But the good news is, sounds like a lot of people are more prepared than I ever thought they were. And I said they were. And I talked and I got hints that they were. But this was a lot more confirmation because people, I guess, saw my spirit earlier today. And I was like, damn, you took the Secret Service away. And people telling me, like, what'd you expect? I'm like, no, motherfucker, you don't understand. You don't understand. I'm the child of people who walked through civil rights, the child of a woman who marched with kids. You don't understand. This sound like the setup or the attempt of an attempt. But I was told by the people on our side, they knew the attempt well in advance. They ready. Whatever. They ready. That's basically what I was told. Whatever. What? They ready. Which felt great to hear. Because I ain't gonna lie. I don't get shook too often. I don't. But I want her to be safe. Her being safe is like my sister being safe. So I do take it personally. And all respects to Newsom and everybody else, but that woman's gonna be president again. That's the other good news. What do you got to do? You got to make sure you're in touch with your Congress. And I know it sounds corny because we tired, whether it's Democrats or we in a red state. But get with Indivisible. They got scripts for that to reach out to your red state. I hear that here's more good news. I hear that we are waning on the GOP Congress. They're scared. They're scared of the blue wave coming. You see what's just happening. Joni Ernst just dropped out. You got senators in the House of Representatives out of the GOP dropping out. They know they ain't going to win. You have and that's what I mean by they're building their own coffin. And I got confirmation today from that. And what I'm asking all of you to do, if you're in a blue state, stay in touch with your Congress. If you're in a red state, get in touch with Indivisible. Get on their list. They got scripts on what you can say in a red state to reach out to them. Keep the pressure up because GOP knows they're in trouble. The Congress, they know they're in trouble. This gerrymandering war is going to be rough. Even if we lose it, we stand together. The thing that you got to know is that in the last 31 weeks of Trump, this has been 31 weeks, we have shown up. Meaning 23 governors and attorney generals, including mine, J.B. Pritzker, Kwame Raoul, attorney general, they've shown up. More so than the Democratic Congress. They have been the real Democratic leadership. They have. And they ready for this gerrymandering thing. They ready to get down. They're ready to get down. There's going to be some gangster shit. But we're going to fight it through and we're going to make it through. We're going to make it. Here's the other thing that I'm being told that is great news, and that is that their numbers are waning. What I mean by that is that the people supporting them breaking off really hard. And that's why Trump's trying really hard to jump in and support the base and say all of this stuff. Between his numbers breaking off, between the GOP breaking off, between them building a coffin for themselves, and between what I said about Kamala and her safety, and I believe it's going to be okay. They prepare as best they can for whatever. And between the confirmation, which feels so damn good, that what I'm saying is very much on point from very important people. I'm feeling good, and I think all of you should feel even better. All you can do is all you can do. And this is what I teach in the Clarity Group. That's why I say get in for the price doubles. Get in this weekend. Here's the thing. Lock in the year price too, I tell you. What I want you to understand in this method that's going on right now is that we, all of us, have to invest in our minds being protected and our spirits being protected. And it's so important. Next week, I'm starting something else called a Laughter for Liberals group where you can smile. I always have some jokes, right? But how do you smile more every day despite everything going on? How do you pick up and move forward? And what can replenish your spirit on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? That's what it's about. It's only going to be $5 a month. Only $5. All right. Much, much lower. And something any and everybody can get in. One last note. I keep saying this. Do not put in my comments you ain't got no money. Do you know how that disempowers you? Don't profess you're not having money. You don't ever want to say that. You are wealthy beyond belief, even when you feel like you're not. Keep that to your own spirit. I pray for you. Just keep following me on social media. Now, all of this said, with all of this information coming out, I think the biggest thing that I'm truly excited about is the preparation process. I have a report I put out called Kamala's Pathway to Presidency. The book is coming out. The midterm support coming. When she's supporting the midterms. The announcement, 2027 early. And her run into the primary. Her winning that primary, shutting down all the non-believers, and showing up to take on whoever is going for president 2028. And if it's Vance, it ain't going to be good. You know he's in trouble. But who else do they got? They ain't got anybody big. It'd have to be somebody with grassroots who could say something, who they could spur behind. But who could they do to take on the onslaught of Kamala Harris? Nobody. She's going to be at least 10 to 50 times more powerful than Hillary Clinton was. And Hillary Clinton was a bad woman, boy. She was bad power-wise. And I'm not just talking about power system. I'm talking about she's going to have the grassroots marketing of Obama in a way that Hillary didn't have. She's going to have the truth behind her even more so. See, Obama didn't have that coming in first time around because he say things and it looked like that way, but shoot, we got crazy data, don't we? Literally thousands and thousands of clips of Kamala saying everything this man was going to do and him doing everything he did. I don't want the big, beautiful bill to hit. There are people in class action suits fighting it to make sure it doesn't happen. But let me tell you something. Any part of that bill that does hit is going to be the coffin and the demise of their party. It will. It will. Because it's just going to be just that much more for 26 and 28. And for those who want to say they're going to try to take the election, well, of course they are. But try and do is two different things. Try and do, especially when you know what they're doing. Oh, yeah. It's taking the Democratic some time to realize what's at stake and do something. I know they definitely need to be more progressive, hands down. Why they giving Mom Donnie a hard time? What the hell? I know they need to definitely give more money to their down tickets because that's been a hot mess. They need to support them more. I know. I know that they need, these old motherfuckers need to retire, start handing these torches over, or we all burning down. I know that they have to deal with prejudice, racism, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia. You know, I know. I know, and you know. And that ain't going to be solved in a couple of years. But we know that exists. I'm going into this time way more wiser than I was before. Smart, but not as wise. I didn't realize that there were civil wars within the Democratic Party like this. I didn't realize that there was a war that's happening. There are 5 different civil wars going on, and Democrats is one of them. Then you got the Republicans. Then you got the judicial branch. Let me tell you what just happened in the last 72 hours of the judicial branch has been amazing. You see all the shit they have. I'll do that another video on that, but it has been amazing to watch. Thank God. Woo! But I'm trying to tell y'all. In fact, what I'm telling you right now is watch every video I got coming out over the next 72 hours. Seriously, this whole weekend. Seriously, this is the 30th of August as I say this. Going into September, this is going to be a blaze. A blaze, a breakdown. Because they're afraid. They losing hard. 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 His numbers are horrible. And then he does all this crazy shit. Last note, the troops are already here, but we ready. I'm here in Chicago. The troops are already here. Clarity members have been sending me pictures of both ICE and military. But we ready. We're going to be all right. Hang in there, everybody. It really is good news. Everything that I'm saying. Hang tight. Binge watch my content here. Look at my list. And in the description and in the homepage, get my groups.